Hello, everyone. Veterans, dedicated VA employees, everybody watching. I can never say enough how grateful I am that you've come to this platform where we talk about VA disability and we work to learn more about VA disability laws, rules, regulations in our journey to make the process so smooth that my job is not needed and veteran and VA employees don't have to struggle in order to obtain the benefits and to deliver the benefits that veterans so rightfully deserve. So as always, for those who don't know, Attorney Matthew Lang, VA accredited attorney. Today's video is going to be a little different. We've done one like this before. It's been a little while. So I'm just going to answer some common VA questions that I've received and that I've pulled from the internet that I've seen pop up multiple times. I think this will help in some repetition in the learning process. Some of these you may already know, some of these you may have already heard me talk about a little bit, but I want to make sure that we got even a good refresher. And then for those who haven't heard some of these questions or knew some of this information, that's great too, because then we're getting some information out there to you. So here's the common one that I always receive is, what is VA disability compensation benefits? In short, it's a tax-free benefit. Veterans that pays for your disabilities that were related to your service, whether that be through a direct theory, a secondary theory, an aggravation theory, a presumptive theory, or any other theory allowed by law. That's in short what it is. You get a monetary amount that's tax-free to help supplement your disabilities because of the effect that it has on your daily life. So how do you apply for these disability compensation? How do you apply for disability compensation? This is one I hear a lot. Now, you can apply online, veterans, at va.gov. There's a whole process there. You can sign in. If you don't have a login yet, you can set all that up. It can be a very daunting task. I found when I did it for myself. It can be very frustrating at times, but stick with it. It's definitely worth it once you get in there. Makes a process easy. I think if you want to do it by yourself to file that claim, it'll walk you through the questions and so forth, and then file it all for you right there online. Now, if you don't want to do it that way, maybe you want to print the form off the VA forms page from their website, fill it out by hand, send it in, mail it, fax it. That's fine too. Perhaps you don't want to do it in person or by yourself. You can go to a VSO, you can go to a accredited agent, accredited attorney, seek their help, their guidance in completing those forms and sending them in, whether it be a original claim, a claim you never filed before, a claim for increase, supplemental claim, a high-low review, an appeal of other means. Definitely, we're all out there to help. So you can do that as well. So there are definitely multiple ways of filing or applying for disability compensation. The VA does make a lot of avenues out there available to you veterans. Now, what form do you use to file a claim? So this is always a popular one too, and there are prescribed forms by the law that have been set out by the Secretary of the VA that says, for example, a VA form 21-526EZ is used for new claims or initial claims that claims you've never filed before. We've got our VA form 20-0995 for our supplemental claims. We got our VA form 20-0996 for higher level review claims. We got our VA form 10-182 for notice of disagreements to the Board of Veterans Appeals. So various different forms out there, but those are some of the common ones that you'll run across that you want to file for your claims. But again, if you're not sure, seek out some representation of VSO, accredited agent, attorney for help there to help guide you along. This is another popular one I get, and I believe we've done a video on this one too in short, but what is a nexus in a VA claim? So one thing I can never hammer enough is the foundation, or what I've deemed to be the foundation of VA law from my experience. And the foundation is really three things. Again, it's an in-service occurrence, it's a current diagnosis, and it's that nexus. It's that link of the current diagnosis and the in-service occurrence. So that's really what a nexus is the link. So how do we get the nexus though? So when we ask the VA to look over a series of evidence. They may find that evidence prompts their duty to assist in gathering a VA examination, VA medical opinion. That there will give you your nexus. That ultimately that opinion given by a VA examiner, contract examiner that the VA contracts to, could give you that nexus. Now, is the nexus always a positive nexus? No, it can be negative at times. Now you can also obtain these nexuses through private providers who are skilled, trained, and fully understand VA disability and the conditions for which you seek their veterans. That's one way of doing it too. Now, keep in mind though that the law does have requirements that require examiners to put in certain information, including rationales that are non-conclusionary and so forth, in order for these to be deemed adequate and usable by the VA. But in short, without getting into any soapboxes today, the nexus is a link between current and service. With that though, the other question I get is, do I need a medical opinion to prove service connection? I'm going to say often yes. Is it required all the time? No. There are certain scenarios, rules and regulations that could prompt the nexus, for example, without a VA examination, could make that link. Could prompt a showing of severity of your conditions or veterans without obtaining additional VA examinations. So you don't always need to go through a CB exam or medical opinion to get the information that's needed to give you a higher evaluation or give you service connection. But in many cases, yes, it is definitely needed, especially the doctor's opinion or that nexus statement for one. Oh, my favorite, because I get this on every case evaluation I do, I'm pretty sure, and every time I file a claim for a veteran, I see it all the time out there on the internet. How long does it take for the VA to make a decision on my claim? Wow. It's my favorite because it's so common, and I wish I could actually, veterans, tell you exactly every time how long it took the VA to make a decision on your claim, but there is no magical tell as to exactly how long your claim specifically will take. The VA does have a goal, 125 days typically, to complete a claim from start to finish. That's on average though, the goal is on average, which means in order to have an average, your claim may go way beyond that and it may go way below that. It may go above it a little bit, may go below it a little bit. There are so many things out there, and I think we've talked about in a video before, that could change the time frame of your claim. Depends on the facts of your case, what evidence is needed, or is the VA having troubles gathering evidence? Is there workload requirements that are being shifted in certain directions? Is there priorities that the VA has that your claim doesn't meet at that moment? Are there computer technical issues that just happen to be showing up in your claim, slowing the process down? So many things. So I'll tell you the answer that I typically give is that average 125 days. I'll say what the VA pretty much puts out, with the hopes that it would be sooner in the process. So keep that in mind, veterans. It's not. I know it's a question that everybody really wishes they could have answered, and I'm sure, just like me, so many other people, including representatives, VSOs, accredited attorneys and agents, would love to be able to say exactly how long it would take, but it just can't be exactly said. We talked about how VA assigns disability ratings in a video before, but in short, just to recap that one, because it is a popular question on the list here, that VA got rules and laws that they've got to follow in order to evaluate evidence, weigh evidence, assign probative value to evidence. And once they have done all that with that evidence, they really have to take that evidence and match it up with the rules and regulations, including the scheduler that's in the 38 CFR to determine what evaluation of veterans your condition should receive. And then they will assign an evaluation usually from 0 to 100%, depending on what the rules and laws allow and the scheduler allows. Now, unfortunately, I've seen in my experience that it's not uncommon for a lot of that process to be not done. So veterans, you may receive an evaluation based upon the VA marrying up a checklist of symptoms from an exam with just the scheduler. So I don't want to leave it out because I want to make sure the question's answered fully, but it's not necessarily proper, but VA could assign you a disability that way as well. And of course, if you disagree with the VA rating decision, there is a lot of appeal issues we talked about, a lot of appeal directions to go, supplemental claims, higher level review, notice of disagreement to the board, and all the different angles from there, all the way up to Court of Appeals. Depends on where we are in your case. But yes, if you disagree with it, there's always appeal options. We can always move from one lane to the next following another denial if need be within the rules. Oh, can the VA reduce my rating? And I think we've talked about this one before too, but this one I see constantly. I see a lot of worry about this one. And I think they worry that I feel from a lot of the questions out here and that I gather from veterans even asking me is a concern of the multitude of errors that are highlighted out here in the public and maybe even by news media, maybe even by OIG reports or other literature that shows the VA makes a lot of errors and tends to propose reductions incorrectly and reduce benefits when they shouldn't. So I want to put your mind at ease a little bit, veterans, on that one. Yeah, they can, and I know that's not going to help, right? Yes, you can receive reduced benefits. VA can't reduce your rating, but understand there's still laws that are in place that says they're only allowed to do it during times of, like, if there's a legitimate CUE called where they made an error back in the day granting something and they shouldn't have, for example, and it's caught later on. Yeah, sure. If there's a actual showing a sustained improvement underneath the rules and laws of a disability, sure. So yes, but do know if veterans, if you do receive a proposed reduction, that the VA is not going to just reduce that benefit right away. Typically, there is in that proposed reduction, there's a due process period for you to have the chance of showing the VA and explaining to the VA and providing any additional evidence to why the VA should not be reducing those benefits. And at that point, honestly, I would highly recommend a representative, VSO, credit agent, or attorney like myself to definitely take a look at those proposed reductions or any of those reductions that you may receive. And then we can put them back on track. We can get them restored for you if there is an error involved. But ultimately, yes, your benefits underneath the law may be reduced for legitimate legal reasons, though. What else we got in here? We're running a little bit long here. What else do I have? Oh, can I work while receiving VA disability compensation? Yeah, I get this one. Oh, I see this one all the time. I get this one a lot. You can. You really can. There is no provision in the law that states you cannot. Now, you can have a permanent and total overall evaluation of 100%, still be employable, just underneath the criteria of the law. The law actually takes more into consideration whether you have substantial gainful employment. Apologies, I don't think that came off very well. And not that the fact that you are not working. There's a lot more to consider there, but you can work while receiving VA disability compensations. Now, people will tell me, well, what about TDIU? What about that total disability individual unemployability? There's a mouthful you can get off really quick. Can I still work? Well, yeah, the rules still allow you to work. There's still exceptions to the rule, but the idea is that even though you're unemployable, we're not looking at the fact again whether you are or are not able to work. It's whether it's about that substantial gainful employment piece. So there are limitations that says you can work maybe this much, perhaps, up to a certain amount. And that gets all, we won't get in the weeds, but do understand ultimately there is criteria in the law that says, yeah, you can work. There's actually really no, in my understanding of the law, there's no actual black and white that says no, period. If you're working, you can't receive 100%. No, if you're receiving 100%, you can't work. Yeah, so you can work. Okay, my family members receive benefits if I'm rated 100%. This is a very popular one. Yeah, for sure. Dependents may qualify for additional benefits, whether that be education, health, later on down the road, veterans when you pass. It could be survivors benefits as well. What I would recommend here, and what I've done for others, is because there's so many different benefits that are possible out there based upon different scenarios and facts, is I'd go check out the VA.gov page for a list of some of those and what makes those eligible and how to handle the startup and how to get those going for your family members. Also, I would note different states may have different benefits as well for 100%, especially for you veterans and maybe even for your dependents. I don't know every state's benefits off the top of my head, but I would definitely recommend checking that out with your state. Go through the state web pages and stuff. Maybe go to your state VA office and see if they have a list of what those are. But yeah, definitely go check it out. There's definitely a multitude of things out there. Oh, can I expedite my claim? This is a huge one. I work with this one a lot. This one gets asked to me a lot, and I see it even out on the internet quite often. Veterans understand you can expedite your claim. Now, you can expedite it for financial hardship issues, terminal illnesses, advanced age, or even homelessness. But you're going to have to usually show additional evidence and proof and provide a good reasoning as to why your claim should be expedited for any of those reasons. I believe VA still has a VA form for expediting claims. Now, if you get like Board of Veterans Appeals or kind of above that VA level, typically I file it on a motion myself, but I don't think there's any more you got to do than be able to provide the evidence and put it on a writing of some sort. But you can expedite, but just know it may take a little bit of extra proving to do so. What else we got in here? Yeah, we got so many in here. I don't want to take up a whole lot more time, but here's a couple questions. I'll just combine them together that I see quite often. One being, are VSOs, Veteran Service Organizations or officers helpful? And do I need an attorney to file my claim? So yes, VSOs are helpful. Many of them are. I think just like anybody else, all of our skill levels are different, and our knowledge bases may be a little different, and maybe we're better at one area of VA disability than others. So that's always going to be out there, but that's even myself. It's attorneys as well and agents. But VSOs definitely can offer free guidance. They can offer assistance as well in your VA claim and helping file those claims and argue some of those things and advocate for you on your behalf. I worked next to, I guess you could say, a lot of good ones when I worked within the VA. Great relationship between them two, many of them in order to, both of us, I guess, to get the benefits granted for a lot of veterans. So yeah, definitely. Now, with that said, no, you don't need an attorney, clearly, right? You don't need an attorney to file your claim. And yeah, this is coming from an attorney, right? You don't need me. Okay. There's times that you're probably going to really want to hire me and say, hey, can you help me out? And you'll need me. Not just me, but other attorneys and accredited attorneys and other accredited agents out there and other VSOs. You can definitely go about this whole process, veterans, on your own if you want. Some are successful. Some become very knowledgeable in the process. I've talked to a few even who finally go, okay, I've got this really figured out. Here's what I'm looking at. And they share me stuff. I'm like, wow, you're definitely educated in this. But even sometimes they need help. So do know that you've got resources out there, but you don't. It's your choice whether you want to use this or not. You don't have to. I'm not going to tell you you do when you don't. So not a requirement, but totally up to you. I would still recommend representation. Again, you'll hear me say it in different periods and different videos for different types of claims, different complexities of issues. At some point, I don't think it hurts because, especially us attorneys back here, will have a foundation and a knowledge of how the law works, the intent of law, the theory of law, and we'll be brainstorming pretty much in every arena that we can and coming up with a lot of detail. And then, sure, if I can't do it, I'm going to reach out to somebody that I feel can, and we're going to see if we can help you. And then we're going to collaborate many times. So there you go. You don't have to. VSOs you can use accredited agents. You can use accredited attorneys. All of us are here to help. Oh, is there a limit to how many claims I can file? No. I hear questions very similar to this a lot of times. No, there's no limit. I mean, you can file and file and file and file. One thing I might say be careful with is don't file just one thing and then maybe a month later file another thing and a month later file another thing and a month later file another thing. You really don't want to clog up your claim process in your file. But no, there's no limit. You can file until the day is long. You can file. You can just file away. Also try to avoid frivolous claims, though. Make sure these are actual things that you have. I only say that because I've seen some people throw a lot of stuff out there but whatever, we won't go there. Idea is, yeah, you can file as many as, there's no limit. You can file as many as you want. What else we got? We got a lot. The video's gone quite long. Let me see if I can cut this down to just a couple more. Like I said, I got 101 questions here. There's a lot of common questions out there. I'm trying to answer some that even I don't think I have before. Can I withdraw my claim if I change my mind? That comes up periodically. You can. Another question is, do you really want to? But again, that's depending on the facts of your case. But you can. I mean, you can submit a written request to the VA before they make a decision. And you withdraw that claim. But before you do, this is one of those points I'm going to recommend an advocate. I'm going to recommend a representative, especially a VSO or accredited representative of sorts, because maybe it's not strategically a good idea to do that. And then they can explain maybe more detail of what some of those problems are that may occur if you do so. Now, sometimes though, again, it's a strategically good idea to withdraw, reset, and change the strategy around. So again, you can withdraw your claim with written notice to the VA, but veterans, my experience is that representation is a really good idea to have before you make that call, or at least talk to somebody. How do you handle a missed CMP exam appointment? So the VA, veterans of the VA assigns you or requests a VA exam for you, and you get that call, email, text message, or combination thereof that seems very harassing sometimes. They just want to make sure you go. That's all. Something comes up. I mean, sometimes we got illnesses that affect us. We've got conflicts with jobs. We've got to be able to make money to live, to support family, support ourselves. We've got funerals, perhaps death in the family or something. Something always comes up. A child is ill. Life happens. It does. So understand, though, that many times you're not going to be able to go right to that contractor or that VAMC and say, please reschedule this. They're going to probably kick it back to the VA. It's going to take some time, but make sure you file with the VA. Still notify those individuals, so it's on record somewhere, but file with the VA a request and say, hey, I wish my CMP exams appointments to be rescheduled. and then just list that good cause. That's what they're looking for, is just good cause. Just really briefly, a couple sentences, you don't need a whole lot, and then they should reschedule those for you. Just, it's going to take some time because the way the system's designed, you're not able to usually do it through. You might be able to occasionally, but your system's not typically designed to go through the provider itself. You have to wait for them to send it back and go back to the VA and so forth. So it takes some time, but you can do it. Just put a little statement in there, explaining in a sentence or two, good cause, that you missed it and a request to reschedule. All right, let's get down to these last two more questions here. Very long video today, and I apologize for that. But again, I just want to make sure that we get as much answer as we can out there. There's all kinds of questions, and they're constantly being asked over and over and over again. So I just want to give another platform, as I mentioned before, to answer some of these and get that repetition in there to help us in the learning process. One thing I've got asked quite a few times, even when I worked in the VA and then even now post-VA as an accredited attorney, is does the VA have production and quality standards that they're required to meet? Do they have performance standards in particular? And the answer is yes. The employees do. The veteran service representatives, the VSRs, the rating veteran service representatives, the RVSRs, the decision review officers, the DROs, they all have a performance standard. They all have a standard that the VA puts out that's usually an internal guidance of sorts that says this is how many claims have to be touched in a day. This is how many claims have to be decided in a day, and this is the minimum requirement. And if you can do this many more over the minimum requirement, then you're an exceptional employee. If you can just shove claims out the door, those standards exist. They do. Quality standards as well. Review of there's requirements to review a fraction of the work that each employee does in order to say yes or no, they got good quality based upon a checklist. You can find an example of the checklist actually for the quality, I know, in the VA's website. Search KNOW space VA. You usually end up at the knowledge base piece where it's got all the manuals and stuff in it. There is a manual in there that actually gives you a sample publicly of what that quality sheet may look like and kind of the things that they might look for. It's out there, veterans, publicly. Again, it's got all the manuals and stuff to it too, and we'll talk about that more in a second because that'll lead my other question. But again, the production standards are more internal. A lot of these standards are more internal. So I don't have a copy of these standards, and I don't know if they're truly publicly released. Typically, have I seen some leaked versions in the past? We'll call them leaked because I don't think they're usually public, but have I seen versions on the internet in the past? Yeah, there's been some out there. So you can probably find an old one and get an idea of what those are. And the restraints that the VA employees are working underneath in order to just keep their job at times, unfortunately. So it's out there. The answer is yes. There are performance standards. There's performance standards of every office to get a certain production number done, certain quality done as well. Again, it's out there. It's part of the performance standards. It's part of the workload management. It's just the measuring tool that's used. So let's get to that last question. How do you stay informed about policy changes affecting benefits? So I mentioned that website, KNOW VA. That's what I searched. I wish I would have brought the web address with me here. Maybe if I remember, I'll put it in the bottom of the video here. I'm terrible at remembering all those stuff after I say it in the video, so I apologize if I've ever forgotten. I think I did one. I'll go back. But anyhow, you go there, you can actually see the manuals that are public, the public laws, many of them in there. You can actually, I believe you can still sign up to subscribe for the updates when the updates come out to the manuals. Typically the updates are released about every Friday, once a week, of all the changes that occur inside that VA manual there. So you'll be able to see what the VA sees and uses veterans to decide their claims. Now, is the VA manuals fit perfectly to the law all the time? In my professional opinion, no. But still a good tool to see what's out there and how things are being interpreted by the VA. You can also find and subscribe to other VA newsletters out there. You can check the va.gov page for information. There's a lot of information out there on that site as well. So those are good starting points. Are those the only things I use? No. I usually keep track of a lot of the case law that changes, watch the stuff Congress is doing and so forth, and you can definitely go seek all that out too. But as a basis, you can go check out and subscribe to these newsletters. You can subscribe to see what the changes are. You can go see the changes publicly in the manuals, VA manuals and so forth. And and if your VSO's got time or your accredited representative's got time and sit down and kind of speak with you about those updates, you can give them a ring. I do what I can personally, but I know we're all quite busy, so we may not be able to, even when we really want to. But anyhow, so there we go, everybody. I greatly appreciate this again, the opportunity I get to serve veterans in obtaining VA disability claims, here to help educate everybody. Again, subscribers, and I greatly appreciate you as well for your interest here, and everybody watching. I look forward to building still a bigger platform with more comments, more subscribers, more likes, more shares, more dislikes even. Hey, I'm not saying you gotta like all the content. If you don't like it, don't like it. Maybe tell us why. Maybe there's something I can do better when I present it. Maybe there's some information there you don't agree about, and we can chat about it. That's what the platform's for. As I mentioned before, one thing I've learned in life is we can disagree, but we can still be friends. So anyhow, everybody, thank you so much. Veterans, one last quick plug, veteranlang.com for case evaluation, for free case evaluation. If you have any desire to seek out that representation for your VA claims, especially if you're getting a reduction, you think there might be a CUE, you've been through the appeals hamster wheel way too much and your legs are getting tired, go ahead and schedule some time with me. I'll give you a phone call back. If you're outside the local area here, we'll chat. I'll set you up with whatever I need to get the information I need from you to review. And if we find a reason to represent or feel that's something I can handle or my firm here can handle, then we'll get you signed up, we'll get you taken care of. Again, if you're in the local Surprise, Arizona area, maybe the Phoenix metro area, the Valley here, we do have a brand new office here that has been established for veterans to come in and chat with us, have those case evaluations, and see us in person, as I know some like to do that as well. I do look forward to the time of being able to grow further satellite offices across the nation to allow that opportunity for other veterans. But for now, Arizona is where we started. If you would like to come in, if you're in the area. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a good week.